I was hoping to do two different pictures of the same thing. One, as you can see going on now, is basically this picture of this engine, which I'm doing using Camera Lucida and doing as accurate as I can, really. It's not my normal style, but I thought I'd give it a go just to see what it would look like by basically starting with the pencil sketch and then going on to do the ink using a fine line, and then finally doing the watercolors. My normal style is to sort of do more of a loose watercolor effect rather than sort of do it too accurately, but I thought I'd give this a go. I'm not over enamored with doing the accurate style personally. I started off doing it and quite quickly into the picture I realised that it was probably a bit of a mistake for me because if a picture for me takes more than about 3/4 of an hour to draw and ink in, then I sort of lose interest a bit. But I can understand how people like to do the accurate stuff. It was quite therapeutic. It took a reasonable amount of time to do. Got a bit frustrating in places, especially with these wheels, because they had a lot of detail and the struts of the wheels were sort of in and out in strange shapes. Overall, I love the picture because of the cloud formations and the sort of slightly distortion of the engine. It was at a car engine fair back in the summer, and I went with some friends and took loads of photos. I like this one because it had a minimal color set. So basically there were two main reds, obviously the blue sky, the green grass. So there weren't that many colors to do, and obviously the black. So I was hoping to get away with a palette perhaps of four colors, and then just add a little bit with the trees in the background because I didn't want to mess about with all the tents and stuff that were there. I liked the process of drawing it, and now I'm moving on to doing the pen and ink. Normally, if I did a pencil first, with the pen and ink stage, I would be, again, a lot looser with the style, and sort of do it a lot more haphazardly, more of a sort of urban, sketchy sort of style, which I quite like, A, because I like the effect it has, and also B, because it's a lot quicker and you're not spending so much time on each picture. I like to do a picture as an exercise to take me probably at most, including the watercolor, probably about an hour or around the sort of hour mark. I think the pencil sketch and the pen and ink took me about an hour to do before I got to the watercolor. So that was quite a long exercise. But yeah, I like the overall effect. Now I'm just rubbing out the pencil line just to leave the pen and ink. I normally rub out the pencil line just because it sort of tightens it up. And then splodging on some of the watercolor for the sky, trying to keep it as accurate as possible within the lines so that I don't get any overlap on this picture. Not going for anything too dramatic, just some sort of reasonably plain green grass, some trees in the background just to give a bit of an eye line. Then once the background's all done, I can go in and start to, for me anyway, quite accurately start painting in the actual engine. I quite like actually just the engine in pen and ink and the watercolor background, so I was sort of debating just leaving it like that as a sort of an outline, but I thought I'd continue the exercise anyway. Now I'm just obviously trying to keep the palette to a minimal amount of colors, probably excluding the shades, probably about four different colors, and trying to keep it as reasonably accurate with the lines and not sort of just splodging it kind of all over the place, which I would normally do. Having shown this to some friends, They all seem to prefer this one, the more accurate picture, rather than my sort of urbanized, sort of splodgy colours that I normally do. But there we go, we're all different. Anyway, so that's sort of filling in some of the details now. And I did find this stage quite a pain for me, going through and filling in a lot of the sort of detail, which I wouldn't normally be as, well, for me anyway, as accurate as I was trying to be. I found out that I sort of missed some areas, so I had to go back in and sort of paint some bits here and there. But basically, try and keep it as precise as I could to the actual picture. Like I say, not normally my usual style, but I did quite enjoy it. It took a lot longer, probably in total about 2 hours, including the watercolor. The wheels were quite tricky because I'm not used to doing things so accurately. And I did find that basically that there wasn't enough white or highlights left in it. So in the end, I had to go through with a white, fill in some of the highlights. You can see from the image, the first round of the watercolors were fairly flat. Obviously the wheels were a lot brighter than that. So I ended up sort of going back over some of the colours to enhance them a bit. So I normally sort of do the shadows and then leave the shadows till the end. So I do the lighter colours first, move on to the darker colours, and then finally fill in some of the shadows where I can. Again, the proportions I got for Camera Lucida, because I generally find that painting or drawing something like this from eye is very difficult to get the perspective and proportions correct. Sometimes it doesn't really matter, and it's quite nice to have things without a proper perspective, but I wanted to try and do this as an exercise to see the difference between loose style painting and more accurate type painting. So this is the more accurate one. In a few seconds we'll move on to the other painting, which is a much looser style. So that's pretty much finishing off the more accurate painting, and you can see the results of that with the white highlighting, which I put in afterwards, and a few other little touches. So yeah, quite pleased with that. This is the second take where I do the same picture again, starting from scratch, but without the pencil stage. So I'm straight into the pen and ink because I like the looser style, so I didn't need the pencil stage. So I was sort of leaving it with mistakes and everything. I sort of made a bit of a mess at the front of the engine with a few lines where I wasn't really concentrating enough. But I was just putting in the box shapes and circles, focusing on just putting in shapes, and the wheels not being as accurate as I was before. Filling in some of the details, but nothing too specific. Just sort of basically using Camera Lucida, but also just looking by eye, really, at the picture, and filling in some of the details, both using Camera Lucida and also not using it. So this was obviously a lot quicker, this sketch, much looser, less details, and just drawing in by eye most of the stuff that I was doing, sometimes just getting the proportions from Camera Lucida. I quite enjoy the style. It probably took about 15 minutes to do the ink stage, and of course missing out the pencil stage, and I saved a lot more time there again. So just finishing off this rough sketch and straight into pen and ink without any pencil line, adding some little cross-hatching and shading before going on to the watercolor. I quite like this loose style of sketching, And with the watercolors, you could just splash it on, not worry too much about the lines or the watercolors overlapping any of the detail. In fact, I think I do the whole picture with just one wide brush. I think it's a sort of half 3/4 inch brush, flat brush, and just filling in the details now with some of the overall colors. I really can stick to probably 4 colors with this rough sketch, because there's not too many colors to do, and the brush is flat so that you can get into some of the detail. I'm not worrying about the text on the top of the cabin like I did with the accurate one. I'm just basically giving an indication of where things are. When it's all dried, I still go over with a white liner just to put in some highlights, but that's just about it. I don't really sort of worry too much about any of the detail. Again, this image was a lot shorter than the other image in terms of time. This one in total took about 3/4 of an hour. Let me know what you think about the two different styles. They're both quite different. One was about an hour and a half, the top one, and the bottom one was about 45 minutes. I like the bottom one because it's just loose and more sketchy style. The top one for me is more accurate and took a lot longer. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this. Please like and subscribe to the channel to get more paintings using Camera Lucida and some of the techniques you can use within Camera Lucida to improve your drawing and painting skills. Thanks again, and I'll see you on the next one.